So for learning objective A, we're going to find a growth or decay function and evaluate. So keep in mind we have the formula here in the upper right, and we need to think of it as plus or minus. We need to determine if it's growth or decay, and then use plus for growth and negative for decay. And here's a scenario. The town of Centerburg is suffering from a decline in population. A demographer has predicted that under current conditions, the current population of 28,500 will decrease by 2% each year over the next decade. However, a manufacturer claims that the new factory will reverse the trend and the population will grow by 4% annually instead. They want us to create two different equations. They want function f, where we have the initial population of 28,500 that increases by 4%, and then function g, where it decreases by 2%. So let's set those up. The first function would be f of x, and our starting amount is 28,500. Then we're going to have 1 plus the 4%, and we don't know the time period yet, so we'll just put t. Let's simplify that equation and do 28,500, 1.04 to the t power. For function g, we are going to start off again with 28,500. And this time it's 1 minus 2% because they're thinking decline to the t power. And if we simplify that, we will have a decay factor of 0.98 to the t power. Now they do want us to come in and make projections after the 10 years have gone by. So if we do that, let's just take for the f function 28,500, 1.04 to the 10th power. That will give us 42,108.96. And if we do g of x and put 10 in for this function, we have the 0.98 to the 10th power. And that will give us 23,286.58. So you can tell by the final answers what's really going to happen in the next 10 years. It is important to try to have a better understanding because these are two completely different answers, which will lead us to a different direction on what to do. Okay, let's look at this one. We're going to invest $2,500 in an account at 5.3% with an annual yield. First question is, what is the yearly growth factor? Well, keep in mind the formula we have for this is going to be, again, 1 plus or minus r to the t. The growth factor is actually going to be this component here. So they're just kind of having us set that up. If we were to set this point up, we would do 1 plus 0.053. So the growth factor would be 1.053. Now be careful if they ask for the growth rate, that is the 5.3%. Part B, what's the equation for the balance A after t years? So the balance is A, we don't know that. We know we are starting with 2,500. We already know the growth factor, and we don't know the number of years, so we put in t. Part C wants to know what's the balance after 7 years. So we're just going to take our formula from above, and we're going to put in 7 for t, and we will get $3,588.71. Now, the last one, D here, they want to know what value is associated with t equaling -2, and what does it mean? Well, if you think about it, if t is time, and we start at time 0 would be like today, what does t of -2 means? It means that what we did 2 years ago. And if you wanted to, you could actually use the formula, and if you put in a negative exponent, even though it seems odd, you can, and you will get $2,254.67, which means if they had invested 2 years ago, that would have been the amount that they started with in the account.